Morning all! So yesterday, after I finished filming and after I'd collapsed in a great big heap, this happened. Somebody's just got an MOT on their van. Oh my god, he's so excited. Oh, congratulations!
Wow!
I was grinning like this the whole way home. I'm so happy for you. You did it!
I did it!
Amazing! You deserve a medal, mate. Not many people would have taken that on.
Still quite a way to go yet.
And again, being a grey day, she looks way better on a grey day, like Myrtle does.
Yeah, that green is toned down a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. Well done! How cool is that? Congratulations, Johnny. Anyway, now I've just walked out of the kitchen. Don't even know what time it is. Morning. It's sunny. It's a little bit windy. Whatever. Giving you the daily weather report. Sassy's come to say hello as well. So I've just walked out of the kitchen now, and now this is happening. Let me turn the camera around. Okay, so there's the caravan in the log shed, and then there's this facing me. So this is Kermit, Johnny's van, with the awning. And this is a country bumpkin awning. Forget all your fancy pants awnings, people. Oh, steady on. Oh, you just burned your finger. Ow. So he's got some whittled sticks and a grubby old tarp. And yeah, it's a proper job awning, isn't it, babe?
Yeah, I'm trying not to drip any more on me because that hurts.
I bet. Oh, it's quite chilly and windy outside. It's so warm in here and it smells. It's got that lovely sawdust smell. Really nice. Anyway, let's get this job underway. And a little bit of a different idea for today's video. I'm going to do a Q&A. So once we've finished up here, I'm going to go and make a coffee. Probably going to go and hide out in Myrtle. And I've got a big list of questions that you guys have asked me over the last week or two. And I figure that every week that we're doing these quarantine diaries, I'm going to, on the Sunday, on my Sunday, so you'll be watching this on Monday, I'm going to do a Q&A day. Q&A Sunday. It's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it? It's going to make my editing on Sunday evening so much quicker and so much easier. So I'm doing this to be a little bit lazy, but equally I get to answer your questions. And there are some good questions in today's episode. If after watching this video there's anything that you want to know, please make sure you go and drop a comment below, and then I'll save all those questions up and answer them next week. How fun! And for the record, you can ask me anything at all. Whether I answer it or not, that's a whole another story. I tell you what, after all that picking up all that brash down in that field yesterday, and I don't know if you could see on the video, but the hill that we were working on was like that, which made oiking those sticks and those logs and that all that brash, it made it so much more effort. I was so tired last night. I had a very early night and I slept like a baby. So just collected the eggs, and there's only 6 so far. I kind of expect I'll get another 1 or 2, so I'll leave the basket out here for now. But I wanted to also show you this. Kind of looks like a little octopus, a 3-legged octopus. So this appears to be one of those membraney eggs that somebody has found and has eaten. And I found it up here, and there was like a wet area here where I assume this once was. So somebody's laid one of those really thin-shelled membrane eggs, and either she or someone else has eaten it. So I think that's 2 days on the trot, or maybe it was a couple of days ago that somebody ate an egg, so that's not great. Cheers everyone. Luckily it's another hot sunny day, so I get to have my cold brew again. Okay, we got some questions. So first question is from Graham, and he says, where do I stand on the whole egg storage debate? This is like, we're talking big stuff here, people, big stuff. So do I keep them in the fridge or do I not keep them in the fridge? The answer is no, I don't keep them in the fridge. Now, a couple of reasons. Here in the UK, our temperatures never go high enough that it would cause a problem to eggs that are sat out on the counter for a couple of weeks. No problem whatsoever. Actually, sometimes they might be on the counter for a month. They're fine. Second reason is that the eggs that I pick up from my hens aren't washed. And I think I said a few videos back, when a chicken lays an egg, if you get one that's literally just been laid, you'll see that it's wet. It's got this coating on it. and that's called the bloom. And if you then go and wash that egg, that bloom is removed and they don't last as long. It has, I think it's like an antibacterial kind of layer that the chicken pops on top of the egg shell, that then means that if she were then to sit on that nest for the next, say, month or so, then that egg wouldn't go bad. So it's all to do with the biology of the chicken and, you know, ensuring that she has a good clutch from the eggs that she sits on. So because we don't wash our eggs, you know, I brush the dirt off, I brush the sawdust off that comes up from the nest, then I just pop them in the kitchen on the rack and they're absolutely fine. So I know that in the UK we kind of are more towards leaving them out in the kitchen, and I believe in the US people are more towards keeping them in the fridge. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a government advice thing or whatever, but no, here in the UK, I mean, I do know people that keep them in the fridge, don't get me wrong. It is done over here. It's just, no, we're a kitchen counter kind of family. Fiona dropped me a message, I think that was over on Facebook, saying that her son Zach loves the chickens and he particularly loves sweetie feeding time with the chickens. And Zach, her son, wanted to know what time the chickens went to bed. So, Zach, it's a very good question because chickens decide when they want to go to bed. Generally, it's at dusk. So basically, as soon as it starts getting darker, as the afternoon goes on into the evening, then they decide to go to bed. Now, what I have noticed is that our young chickens, so the young hens that we bought this year, they are out as late as possible. But the older girls, they go kind of mid to late afternoon. You'll often find them sat on the roost. They're a little bit lazier, but the young girls, they try and get as much daylight as possible. And last year we had 5 rescue hens and we had to actually teach them how to go to bed because they'd grown up in cages, unfortunately, so they had no idea how that all worked. But what was really interesting is that they would actually wait until it was practically pitch black before they went to bed. It's like they wanted to consume the outdoors for as long as possible. So cute. So thank you, Zach, for your question. Very good question, sir. Nomadic Wanderer. He wanted to know why the chicken crossed the road. You're probably best go and ask Zach, mate, because I got no clue. Oh, this next one isn't actually a question. This is something that I had to remind myself to tell you. Completely beside the point. Over on Twitter, currently running a competition, I think until next weekend. Can't actually remember the finish date. But if you're watching this video the day that it's published, then next weekend the competition will be ending, and it's to win a barbecue cooking pack from Thermopen. If any of you seen any of my videos where I use a digital thermometer, this white digital plastic thermometer with a probe on it, that's by a British company called Thermopen, and those are actually made in the UK. They're really, really handy pieces of cooking kit. They're doing this lovely giveaway with a load of barbecue stuff, other tools and tricks and stuff that you might want to add to your barbecue life. So if anyone fancies entering that, I'll pop the link down below. And unfortunately, that's only open to the people that live in the UK. So apologies to everybody else, but all you UK lot, head down, follow the link to Twitter, and good luck. So Sue wanted to know if I had an authentic pasty recipe. So Sue, yes, of course I do. I live in Cornwall. For the record, I'm not Cornish. I've moved here when I was 4, so you probably wouldn't be able to call my recipe authentic because I'm not Cornish. But yes, I do have a lovely recipe for traditional pasty, and I'll pop the link to that down below. I've also got a few vegetarian versions as well. There's a butternut squash one I seem to remember. There's, I think there's tender stem like broccoli and blue cheese recipe. I don't know. I'll pop all the pasty recipes that I've got down below. So if anyone wants to go and look at those and have a little baking session, then can't say I blame you, because the pasty, say no more. Okay, now I've got a bunch of questions from one person. This was actually left on, I think, on my van build video, which I'll link to up here if you haven't seen it yet. And this is from Mama Kim. So hi Mama, how you doing? Nice to meet you. So she is she's been binge watching a load of van build layouts and all the different conversions, that all the videos that are out on YouTube, of which there are many, let's be honest. And she had some questions as a female solo traveller. So question number 1, have I ever had to jump through to the front of my van when the van is set up as a camper? And Mama, honestly, the answer is no. But you know I'm now going to have to try it, don't you? And this isn't going to be pretty. And I've got a hole in my jeans. This could be really dangerous. Ah, sod it. I'll just take a little bit of caffeination with me. Now I am cheating, for the record. I have just folded down the passenger seat because when I camp that is always folded down, otherwise I'd set the back of my seat on fire from my grill. So officially that's cheating, but that's how I camp, so it's not really. So do I go feet first or head first? I mean, come on, I made that look easy, right? Ta-da! That was kind of fun. So yes, Mama, that actually was one of my thoughts, being that sometimes I camp in here on my own, and I'm not always on a campsite, is that, and I always know exactly where my keys are. If I'm on my own, I never drink alcohol that night, just in case I have to get through and get into the driver's seat. Also, I often do throw things into the front of the van for storage overnight, but I never put anything on the driver's seat or that would block the footwell, so that if I ever did have to get out of a sticky situation, I've got free access to get through there and just drive. Her second question was that I have no sink, and she wonders if that's a regret now that I've been using the van for a couple of years with no sink. And absolutely not, to be honest. I don't miss it at all. It was a very conscious decision not to put a sink in here. The whole reason that I went down the camper van route is before I had Myrtle, I had a job where I had to tour around Wales, the whole of Wales, for 1 month, and I borrowed, it was to write a book for a publisher, and I actually had the publisher's camper van, and it was a great big old thing. It was a lot of fun, I have to say. It was a real giggle. But he didn't have a sink in there, and I never once missed it in the whole month that I was travelling. So because of that, it was a conscious decision that I didn't want to use any of this very important space for housing a sink, because I didn't feel it was necessary. If I had a bigger van, or if I was planning to live in my van, then I would probably want a sink. I could do without one, even if I was living in a van, but I would probably choose to have a sink. And to be honest, if I planned to do the whole van life thing and actually live in the van, I would also want a van I could stand up in. This would not work for me. I could live in here if I had to, obviously, but if I did have to move into a van for some reason, like permanently for the next 3 years or whatever, then I would want something that I could stand up in, that had a sink, that had a toilet, and possibly even had a shower. It would need to be a bigger van than this. Question 3 was, what's the length of the bed in single mode? The length is the same whether it's single or made up as a double, and it's just under 6 foot, I think. Now, I didn't bring a tape measure out with me, stupidly, but I will measure this and I'll pop it on the screen somewhere here if it's different, but I'm pretty sure it's 5'10". Question 4 is that she sees I have no leisure battery. How do I go about storing food? Do I use a cool box? So yes, I use a cool box. Johnny's got one that plugs into a cigarette lighter and just has a cooling element in it. It's not brilliant from, like, it doesn't keep food like a fridge does. But again, because I don't live in the van, it's only, I mean, we spent a month in here touring around Scotland, and we would just stop at smaller shops every 2 or 3 days and buy fresh produce if we needed it. The drawer that's underneath this cupboard, so right down the bottom, if you've seen the van tour video, there's a long drawer that kind of pulls out. That actually is the coldest part in this whole van, and we kept butter in there, we kept bacon in there, those kind of things. They last pretty well. I mean, if it's stiflingly hot in here, no, they're going to go off or the butter would melt, but it was enough. And yes, we had a cool box with ice blocks, and when you stop at a campsite, obviously you can re-chill your ice blocks in their fridge freezers often. So yeah, again, if I lived in a van, if I was doing the van life thing, I would need a fridge, and I would actually need a freezer, because I write recipes for a living, and assuming I still had to do that job if I was living on the road, then you can't always, you know, sometimes you have to buy specific ingredients to do a recipe, but you can't necessarily, like maybe the light's not right that day, or you can't necessarily make the recipe on the same day. So yes, I would absolutely, for my business, I would absolutely need a fridge and a freezer if I were doing van life. But don't forget, this is just our part-time van. This is just for holidays, for weekends away, for festivals, that kind of thing. Question 5, How do I heat it when not on hookup? I don't, is the answer to that. So I have been known to light the stove just to take the chill off the van. But before having a camper van, I was a camper my whole life. I've camped in tents and hammocks and bivvy bags. So this feels incredibly luxurious to me. I don't need heating. Johnny, if you've seen Johnny's van recently, he's already put a diesel heater in his. And that's great. It's just not an expense that I felt was necessary for me and where I am at the moment. I'm pretty roughy-tufty and I don't mind roughing it. Again, if I was living in a van and I was in the UK or more north, then yeah, I would probably need a heater. But again, I don't. I just keep really warm clothes in here and blankets and slippers. Question 6, the lighting. She sees that I've got battery operated fairy lights. Is it enough? Is it enough for what? Again, I don't live in here. It's only camping, and all those years of camping in a tent, that's all I ever had was I didn't even have fairy lights, I suppose. I guess it was just like a lantern and a torch. That would have been it. So yes, I do find the lighting in here, it's really lovely. I've got this, hang on a sec. So I've got this funny thing that Damon gave me last November. Which is just a battery touch operated light which now goes on the ceiling. If I need to read or anything, then this is fantastic. It's very, very bright and perfect for reading. But if I just want ambient light, if I just want to cook or like chat with Johnny, or I probably wouldn't want to read a book by these little fairy lights, but for just like being in the van of an evening, that is actually plenty of lighting. I've always got a torch. I've also got two, I don't know if you can see them, I've got two of the little ceiling lights that came with the van. So if I need more light, it's there, but just generally sitting, watching a film, cooking tea, that kind of thing, no, fairy lights is plenty. I think that's all your questions, Mama. If you've got any more, do let me know. Love talking about camper van questions. Next question, Paul says, I can't find your wild garlic soup recipe anywhere. Yes, Paul, I'm really sorry. That's because I haven't actually published it yet. By the time you guys see this, it will be Monday morning. I'm recording this Sunday afternoon, and this won't take much editing at all, this video. So I'll get this one edited tonight, then I'll sit down and write that recipe. So, long story short, go and check the description box below, and I will try to have a link to the wild garlic soup recipe, and it is worth going to check it out. It's really delicious. Okay, so this question came here on YouTube from Cornish Back Gardener New Allotment. Another Cornish boy. Hello chap, how you doing? So he says he's just bought 5 chickens. How many eggs could you get from 5 hens on average? Depends on a lot of different factors. A, are they female? You know, you don't know with some people. Are they female? How old they are? And what breed they are. That's probably the main 3 criteria. So obviously they need to be female to lay an egg. What was the second one? How old are they? So a hen starts laying at the point of lay. That's what they're called, point of lay. So if you bought point of lay hens, then they should be about to start laying, which is spot on. And down to the breed. So my chickens, all of the brown ones, are a breed called Lohman, Lohman, I believe it is. And they are specifically bred to lay an egg every single day for the first 18 months of their life. So as soon as the chick grows up and becomes point of lay, then they lay an egg every day for 18 months. It kind of depends what time of year they hatched, because there might be a first molt that might interrupt that, but generally overall you're going to roughly get 1 egg a day from them. However, if you got a traditional or a rare breed hen, they won't have such a high egg output as a chicken that is designed, that is bred specifically for laying eggs. So it all does depend, unfortunately, on what breed you've got. So if you want to give me a bit more information about the age of the girls and also what breed they are, then I will try and answer that question for you a little bit more. Right, well, that's all my questions done. So here's the deal. While we're doing these whole daily quarantine diaries videos, I am going to turn my Sunday, so your Monday video is now going to become a Q&A Sunday, because I just love the ring of that, and because it's going to keep my Sunday evening editing session down to an absolute minimum. So you've now got another 7 days to bang out all those questions you've ever considered asking me or Johnny about farm life, about Cornwall, about little black cats that squawk a lot, about chickens, about ducks, about camper vans, about food photography, about food blogging, about writing recipes, about anything at all that you can think of. I'm not promising I'm going to answer all of them, but I will certainly take a look. Bang all those questions over to me, whether it's here on YouTube or on social media or whatever, and I'll try and keep a tally of all those questions, and then next week we'll sit down again and we'll have a little Q&A Sunday. I like the ring of that. I think it works. Oh, let's hear it for the cold brew. Right, lovelies, I am out of here. Thank you again for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you spending all your time with me. It's massive, so thank you. So as always, keep smiling, look after each other, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Oh, and if you wanted to smash the like button, then that would probably be quite a good idea. Peace.